This is the 5 tech things you should know about, episode number 31 for March 26, 2010. Brought to you by Mozy.com. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here on the 5 tech things that you should know about. A simple rundown of 5 things out of everyday technology that the common person should probably know what's going on here. Geekazine@gmail.com is my email address, and 608-205-4378 is the phone number. If you'd like to call me or email me and say, hey, we should probably talk about this, probably should talk about this, or hey, how you doing? Here's a pie. Of course, this show is brought to you by Mozy.com. You should back up often. You should back up off-site. Bottom line, backing up your computer. Today we have pictures, we have documents, we have videos that you can't get back if your computer hard drive dies. Mozy.com is going to help you back up all that stuff. Mozy.com is where you're going to go to get your backups off-site. Protect yourself from fire, protect yourself from theft, protect yourself from kids with peanut butter sandwiches. Yes, it can happen. Mozy.com, $4.95 a month for 1 year's worth of Mozy.com. That's the price of a hard drive itself, and it's off-site. So you just upload the files, upload your pictures and everything. High encryption, so you don't have to worry about that either. Mozy.com, $4.95. Of course, I'm going to give you a code here. The code is GEEK, G-E-E-K. You enter that in checkout, you're going to get an additional 10% off. Back up now, back up often, back up off-site with Mozy.com. Now, faster than I can get into a time machine hot tub, let's get into the 5 tech things you should know about. I don't know why it is, but I'm just so stoked that I'm going to actually go see Hot Tub Time Machine. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about what's called CTIA. CTIA is the Wireless Association, otherwise known as Cellular Telecommunications Industry Association. They have their annual expo conference in Las Vegas this year. And lots of stuff has been coming out. You've probably been hearing about cell phones and new wireless and this and that and the other thing. There's been a lot of great stuff coming out through this last week simply because this conference is going on. One of the big things that you've probably heard about is this little phone right here. It is called the EVO by Sprint. And what makes it so revolutionary is it's the first phone that's using what's called 4G technology. Now, we talked about that 4G technology last week, so we won't get too much into that part. But there's a lot of great features that the EVO has. A 1 gigahertz processor. I mean, iPhone itself has a 600 megahertz processor in it. So this is going to take us to the next step. It's got the Android operating system. It's got a wider screen, so you can do what you need to do, watch the videos in higher definition. It's got the cameras on both sides, so you can take a picture like this and like this if you wanted to. Now, there's some great stuff here. Now, there's a lot of people that are saying, well, EVO, 4G phones are not there yet. Maybe you should wait a year. Well, that may be true. If you're not in a 4G market, you should probably wait a little while. But then again, if we go and we get all these phones with 4G coverage, we're going to get more 4G areas. 4G is going to be, of course, the next big thing in wireless technology. And of course, once it starts really rolling out, in about a year or two, we'll see 4G pretty much cover the map. It's just a question of which carriers will have good 4G. Sprint's really tuning up on this 4G. It's still a year out, yes. But if you're in a 4G area, maybe this phone's for you. Going back to CTIA, we also have some other great new cellular technologies like the Samsung Galaxy, like the Motorola IA1, and a whole bunch of other stuff. You should check it out, CTIA. All you have to do is do a Google search on it. Just type in CTIA and you'll get the Wireless Association. Go to the website and see what everything that they've talked about if you're really into that wireless arena. Spam, 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 spam. Well, a new report came out saying that 80% of us are aware that there is spam and we shouldn't be getting into these emails on scams and mail enhancement and blah, 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 because it can bring down botnets, it can bring down malware, it can bring down bad things to your computer and maybe even phish your information. Most of us are very aware of us. Most of us don't click on it. But even though the number says 80%, that means that 20% still are clicking on these ads. And you might be a little bit enticed. I know I am sometimes. I look at this email and go, gee, I really want to see how it goes. The only difference is I do it in a more protected area. I take that message and I take it to a computer, a protected computer that doesn't have my email on it, that doesn't have my personal information in it, and I take out what's important. Like for instance, if it's saying, hey, my name's in there, my email address is in there, in the link itself, I take all that stuff out, and then I make sure. And the reason why I do that is because I want to let you know what happens when you click on a link like that. So if they do click on it and they say, hey, I come up to a Twitter page, you don't log on. Hey, I come up to this, you don't do that. So I do it in a safe environment. You should not do it at all if you are not in those safe environments. But nonetheless, 20% still click on these ads, still click on these emails. What does that mean? That means in the United States alone, 305 million people live. That means 61 million people click on email. You go worldwide, 6.6 billion people, 1.2 billion click on these ads. So yeah, no wonder that some of these spammers and some of these botnets and some of these malware people are trying to get your money. It's easy with 1.2 billion. Even if you do the 1 to 100 ratio, every 100 emails, one gets clicked, you've got a pretty decent situation. So what we need to do is we need to educate people. We need to tell them, hey, don't click on the link. Aunt Martha, don't click on the link. Grandma, don't click on the link. Hey, you might not know the email, but don't click on the link. That's the bottom line. Now, they're going to get smarter, and they're going to try new ways to get this all done and get this going forward. We still got to be aware. We still got to educate. Instantaneous. The faster we educate, the faster this gets down. We don't have any more Nigerian email scams. Hopefully. We're talking about a big fail right now. Firefox. I downloaded the 3.6, which they said, hey, download it. We got it going. It's nice and going. And then they found a problem. So 3.6.1 came out, and they had a problem. And then so they had to push out 3.6.2 a little bit prematurely. Resources. It's horrible. I do not recommend that you download the newest version of Firefox. Stay on 3.5 unless you absolutely need to get all these, because there are some problems with 3.5 that need to be fixed, that can be fixed with 3.6. But I will say, and I can't believe I'm saying this, switch to Chrome. I'm not a big fan of Chrome simply because of a lot of things that they do internally. But out of all the browsers right now, I believe it's the safest. As for 3.6.2, I think they really need to work on some stuff. They really do need to work on some stuff. All right, next week I'm very, very excited. I'm going to be getting a Ford Sync car, or Ford Taurus, SHO I believe it's called, to test out the Ford Sync system. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a great time, and I'm going to videotape everything. I'm probably going to do a 5 tech things right from the car on that week. But we're seeing a lot of this stuff happening where wireless is getting into the car, and this is the case. This is a company out of Japan. It's called Rowe, and they made the Rowe 350, and it's the first Android car. Now, it doesn't mean that Android is powering the car at all. It just means that you'll be able to use your cellular service through the Android operating system that's embedded in the car. You'll be able to do your GPS navigation through the Android 2.1 operating system that's in the car, so on and so forth. It's not going to figure out the combustion. It might do some analytics, and maybe there's a good program out there that'll figure out how many miles you've gone, trip makers and stuff like that, but it will not do the inner workings of your car. So you won't be passing by somebody on the side of the road and their car is all dead, and the reason why they're dead is because some blue screen of death error type thing. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But I can't wait until we get an application that'll make my car sound like KIT. All right, let's talk about a newer word here. It's called Femtocell. And you might not have heard about it. You might have heard about it a little bit. But Femtocell is a really cool thing. Let me show you this. This is called a Z-Boost. And what this is this boosts your wireless, boosts your 3G capability. This is the antenna, this is the receiver. You put the antenna outside on your house up on the roof to try and get the best 3G signal. You then run a wire from here to here to get that signal into your house, especially in a place like the basement here, where you're trying to get a better signal because you're working down here a lot. I know that my friend Andy McCaskey has a heck of a time trying to get a signal on his iPhone when he's in his basement. I'll be sending him this Z-Boost after I get done testing it to see if this works for him. But Femtocell is the new technology to try and boost the 3G without creating new towers, without wasting land and stuff like that. AT&T has come out with the 3G MicroCell. It's going to be coming out in the next couple months here, where you hook it up to your router, and all of a sudden your iPhone will be working through your wireless system to get your signal, improve your signal, especially the 3G signal. Now, I'm not exactly sure about that simply because of the fact that if I'm at home, I'm hooked up to the wireless anyway. Why would I want to be hooked up to the 3G? And if the wireless goes down, the 3G goes down anyway. But this is this will help many people try and get those more powerful signals without bringing out new towers. And it also brings a ground attack on cellular services. Most of the time we had these towers, tower here, tower here, tower here, and that theory would cover the spread. Now we can have each home with one of these little microcells set inside the house, and that's actually pushing a better signal, moving the signal along so you can make the phone calls you need to in weird areas, in mountainous areas, in desolate areas, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Only problem with this right now is the price tag. I think we're talking about $159 for the 3G MicroCell. This little puppy right here is about the same price. Depending on which version you get, it starts at about $100, goes up to about $400 for anybody that's into a business that needs to put their get 3G and get cellular service throughout their building, because there's a lot of buildings out there that really don't capture a signal or move a signal through the building that well. But Femtocell is definitely something that you should be watching out for. And of course, we'll keep an eye on it and see when the stuff starts coming out, and if it's actually going to help your phone, your system, get better. And that is the 5 tech things that you should know about. My name is Jeffrey Towers, www.geekazine.com, tvazine.com, 608-205-4378 phone number, geekazine@gmail.com. Until next week, I hope you have a great week because it's getting warm out there, getting into spring. I'm really excited about that. Take care.